Welcome, superheroes, to the Dandy Bugle, where I, Dandelion, interview members of the real life superhero community on their involvement with hero work and public community service. Today we have Tan Man joining the crime scene wearing their stunning tan supersuit and hopefully a smile on their soul. Welcome, darling. I hope you're doing well today.
Hello. I sure am.
Awesome. Why don't you introduce yourself and describe your work to the audience before we get started?
Well, I am the Tan Man. You can find me, little plug, you can find me on Instagram under the Tan Man RLSH. But what I do is I do trash pickups and I do supply handouts to people in my city of Huntington Beach, California, and hopefully more cities in Orange County once I spread out a little bit. But thus far, what I've been doing is I go down one particular street and try to help out as many people as I can because it's a very busy street and there are a lot of unhoused people. And at the end of the street, there's an encampment that I frequent where I leave supplies.
That's awesome. Very, very noble. Um, so we're going to get into some of the first questions. So, who is your favorite fictional superhero, and who is your favorite non-fictional superhero?
Okay, well, my favorite fictional superhero, I gotta give it to two. My favorite fictional superhero is Batman, with a close second being Daredevil. Those are probably the two biggest inspirations for what I've been doing. Because I love street tears, I love no power, like martial arts sort of superheroes. And my favorite real life, like non-fictional superhero, I mean, obviously you got to throw in Skyline in there because Skyline's been the one doing everything. And I could shout out a non-traditional superhero figure, but to be honest, I don't have one in mind. So to Skyline, that's the one.
What inspired you to join the RLSH community? Was it your favorites?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It was absolutely Skyline. He posted the real life superhero iceberg videos and his first few patrols, and I thought, oh, actually, that's not so bad. I feel like I could do something like that. I want to help out and I want to make a cool costume. So I threw this together. I have this flashlight that I bought. The flashlight's probably the most expensive thing in my entire super suit. I've got, you know, like this tie was a gift from a friend. This trench coat was thrifted. These gloves I bought on Amazon. I threw together the suit super quickly and then just got out there as fast as I could because I thought, well, if Skyline's setting such a good example, then I should, set a good example in my community as well.
I respect that. That's awesome. When did you join the RLSH community?
Very, very recently, I joined in March of this year. That was when I conducted my very first patrol.
It's pretty
It was,
recent.
yeah, yeah, I think it was like first of the month almost, you know? Like it's been it's a very recent development for me.
It's very cool though. Have you been enjoying it so far?
Oh yeah, no, it's been super fun, super fulfilling. I've actually met another superhero, and we went out on patrol together, and that was super fun. And um, all this work that I've been doing has been great. It gives you something to focus on. It feels like it gives more value to some of the training that I do. It makes me pick up different hobbies that I wouldn't have thought of. Like recently I've been getting into parkour and this has been like a good motivation for it just because it's like, well, it would look cool, you know?
It's true. It would. I saw that you teamed up with a superhero on your Instagram. Who was it?
That was Sanctifier.
Shout out Sanctifier.
Shout out Sanctifier.
Uh, what is your favorite part of being in the RLSH community?
Probably how friendly everyone is. I think I like how eager everyone is to help and do things for other people. I really appreciate that. And I know that some skeptics and critics would be, you know, kind of dismissive of the work that we do just because it feels not as altruistic, just because, oh, they're wearing a costume, they're doing it for some other reason. But I think the costume adds a lot of motivation and also a lot of spotlight. So that's just my response to anyone who thinks like, oh, they're just putting on costumes and doing charity work to get famous. But it's like, one, no, and two, they're still doing charity work, which
What is your least favorite part of the community? Is it that kind of stuff that you mentioned, critics?
no, I think the critics always, come naturally. For me, I think my least favorite part is the amount of people that come into the hobby and don't actually do anything. They skip
Mhm.
the real life part, I think. That makes me a little sad. Just because it's like you're being a superhero without any of the hero part, You're not going out, you're not doing what you can for your community. It's kind of just wait in the wings with a super suit or wait in the wings with nothing and just a lot of waiting until you feel the right moment to become a superhero. But it's like there's not really a right moment. You kind of just got to get out there and do it. It's like any other hobby, it's like any other skill. There's no right moment to get started.
What was your first mission like? How did you feel doing it?
Ooh, my first mission. My first mission had a lot of road bumps. Incidentally, I did not have a face shield, so my mouth was kind of getting gummed up in the mask like the whole time, and so it made it really hard to talk. I was kind of just vlogging at my action camera because I was really nervous. My hat fell off twice because it was really windy and there's nothing to keep it on when I have this balaclava on. So, it was
But
it was kind of it was kind of scary. It was rough. Yeah, neck strap. I gotta
yep.
invest in a neck strap. Um, but I don't want to put holes in this thing because I'm not the most crafty person. There are superheroes out there who are crafty, superheroes out there who are sciencey, superheroes out there that are like magic and spiritually. I've got none of that. My superhero ability, which is pretty lame, is martial arts. I do Muay Thai, so that's what
Something.
I've got. And yeah, I have no illusions about how practical that is, though. In the real world, the whole point of martial arts is to never need it and to never use it ever. So it's like it's it's cool to have though. It's cool to know because I could throw out a tornado kick if I feel like it, and people will be like, "Well, a tornado kick."
That's very cool. How do you decide like where to patrol and do outreach?
So far, I've only been patrolling on the one street. It's kind of like a Hell's Kitchen kind of deal for me, where I only patrol the one street. But that's because it's the busiest street and it's the street where I see the most people in need. But a lot of the help that I actually do is out of costume, where I will see someone on the side of the road, I'll pull over and I'll give them whatever supplies I have in my car.
Mm, that makes sense. What kind of tools and supplies do you carry with you on patrol or when you're out of costume?
Oh, out of costume. Well, I don't really carry anything while I'm out of costume. I keep my stuff in the trunk. What I keep is water bottles, granola bars, and applesauce. So applesauce is for people who might not have the best teeth conditions. Granola bars are just a good snack that have no like super allergies in them because I don't think there are any nuts, just oats. And water, everyone likes water. Water's good. And then in terms of like superhero stuff that I carry, I have this flashlight, this tan flashlight that I carry, which is super nice. I'm not gonna turn it on because it's the morning, but I carry this flashlight, which is super cool, and I like. In this pouch right here, I carry a pen and a notepad, um, just like to be detective-y, and also because if I don't have access to my phone, which I'll always have access to my phone because it's in the other pouch, but in case I need to write something down and take like a proper statement, then I can put it in there. Or if I need some info that I can't just like keep in my notes app. In here, I carry little bandages, like very small bandages. They won't really help for much other than small nicks and cuts. But I keep, little gauze pads, in case anyone is injured and needs something. Actually, those are pretty sizable. I forgot how big my gauze pads were. And I also keep a USB-C charger on me at all times. I should start carrying a power bank so I can actually charge people's phones. But I have to find one of those first because I know I have them around the house. I know I do.
That's a good idea. I didn't think about that.
Hmm.
Um, what's like the strangest thing you've seen on a mission, would you say?
Strangest thing I've seen on a mission. Honestly, everything's been pretty relaxed. I mean, I live in the suburbs. We don't really have like a big. I don't go to the big touristy like downtown area, which I'm sure is where I'll see a lot more activity. I help out more so around my area, which is a little more dinky and on the borders of the other cities. Um, I haven't seen anything weird, but the funniest story I have is when I was doing my patrol in the wetlands and cleaning up there. Some guy saw me and just burst out laughing, and I thought it was because, well, I'm wearing like a, ridiculous costume. It's not that ridiculous, actually. These are just normal clothes. But he was laughing because I was wearing a tie. He burst out laughing and he was like, "Ah, you must be an Englishman." Ha 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 ha. And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I saw a movie the other day where there were a bunch of mountain climbers and one of them was wearing a tie and of course it was an Englishman." And I was like, "Oh, that's funny." So, I remember that because I think it's hilarious that he like saw this entire getup and was like, "Man, that tie is freaking sweet."
That's really funny. Um, do you think that like the super suit is necessary for hero work?
To be honest, yeah. I feel like because there is a website called HeroCore, I think, and on HeroCore.online there's a blog, and one of the pieces of advice was if you don't have a super suit, just go out there in your colors and do a little safety patrol, which is just walking around. And excuse me, I never really like bought into that. I think the super suit is huge because okay, I'm gonna get soapboxing here. I did research on this because I not had to do, I wrote a speech about real life superheroes, which means I had to do actual research into convincing people why this was a hobby in the way that it was, that isn't just like, oh, because it's cool. And there was a study done. I'm citing sources from memory here, so don't
Yeah,
don't
of
take
course.
my super word for it.
I'm not.
Look it
I'm
up.
not going to
Look
fact
it up
check you.
later. You should look it up later and put it on screen if you can. I think the study was done by the University of Minnesota in 2019, in which they took young children, maybe 6 years old or so, and made them do a boring, repetitive task. And the task was like, oh, match the pictures. Click yes if the pictures are matching. And it was shown that when kids were wearing a Batman costume, they were significantly more productive and more resilient to the task. And so there's been a
Whoa.
lot of research done on alter egos and costumes and how they help people with insecurities, how they help people be brave, they help people be more confident, they help people be more productive. And I think the super suit is so key for that. People underestimate the value of an alter ego in such a way that it's just like, well, don't worry, you're just putting on a costume and then going out and doing stuff. Like, no, you are making an alter ego. And if you stick with that, it'll do things for you psychologically that'll really help you out. And so I think the super suit is actually very important for that reason. It's called the Batman effect. There are two Batman effects. If you ask a question relating to the other Batman effect, I'll also soapbox about that because I know a little bit more about that. But if you look it up, the article is from BBC. Look up BBC, the Batman effect, and you'll be able to put it on screen and everything. You'll be able to link it in the description. The article's legit. Like, I promise this is real. This is
Oh
real
yeah, no,
science.
I believe you. Do you think that like physical training or martial arts are necessary for hero work?
No, no. A lot of what you're doing as a hero is walking around, so you might need to be a little more physically fit, but to be honest, it's just walking around with like a backpack or a wagon if you have one. If you have a wagon, you're set. You're all good.
Yeah, I've been trying to invest in a wagon for a while. Is keeping like a secret identity necessary?
To be honest, I don't think so. Most people who know who I am in my real life already know that I have a superhero identity because for me personally, it's just really hard to hide. I have somewhat of a distinct voice and a distinct speaking pattern, and also my glasses are out.
Right.
And a lot of people who know me also like, I mean, COVID happened, right? Which means the face masks and stuff is not new. This is not a new thing. People have seen me in a face mask. So I kind of just look like my normal civilian identity. But that's personal. That is a personal thing. It's people who know me know my superhero life, but I wouldn't wish it for the other way around. I wouldn't wish people who know me as a superhero to know me in real life.
Interesting. Um, so like what makes a hero in your eyes then? Like what what kind of work or engagement in the community makes a hero?
Anything productive and helpful to the community, um, makes a hero in my eyes. It could be small things, it could be simple things, it could be letting people know that there are resources available. Like genuinely very small things makes a hero in my eyes. And obviously, a superhero is someone who like really goes out there. I think there is a distinction. I think there
Ooh,
is a distinction.
talk about that.
Um, not to like gatekeep, not to gatekeep or anything. Because again, I'm new to this. I if I personally was just like, you know, online and I wasn't going out and helping people with this suit, I think I wouldn't consider myself like a superhero because I have the suit, I have the resources. What am I doing? Like I got to get out there, I think. I think getting out there and meeting your community where it's at makes you a superhero. Or at the very least, I think that's what makes like the great heroes.
Mhm. Do you think that there are a lot of heroes that kind of like stay online and don't really do as much community wise?
I think so. I think so. I've heard that there's like a lot. I was convinced that most real life superheroes were like Skyline. Um, and then sort of, but there's a lot more people who are interested in vigilantism
Oh
and
boy.
like crime deterrent versus outreach.
Hmm.
And I think crime deterrent is significantly less important than outreach, you know? Like helping people when you can is a lot better than stopping a potential thing. Like obviously, if I had to choose between not letting a thing happen, oh no, I don't want to choose. That's stupid. I'm a superhero. Superheroes do whatever they want. I wouldn't choose. You can do both. You can do both. If your safety patrol is a deterrent just by being like safe, then get out there and carry a little backpack with you, right? Like I bought a small backpack so that I'd still be able to like move around and stuff. And uh, I, I don't know. That's what I think about that. I really don't understand why you would go out and meet your community and not have stuff to help just in case. You know, like water bottles. You're not going to carry water bottles, you know? That makes me sad a little bit.
People
My
would
car's
just
getting
like
blown.
only engage in like vigilantism.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that.
there certainly is, and I've heard a lot of talk about that kind of stuff, especially from some of the greater heroes and the veterans. Um,
Mhm.
are you currently on, or do you ever plan on becoming a part of like a superhero team? Like, do you have a partner or a sidekick?
I don't have any like well-formed alliances except for my one with Sanctifier. If look, I've drafted this up in my head, okay? If I had to choose, if I had in my perfect world, if there were any justice in the world, I live in Orange County, right? And so if there were any justice in the world, I would create a superhero organization called the OC Hero Organization, or OCHO for short, and there would only be 8 members at a time. We would have 8 members in the OC Hero Organization that work in all different parts of Orange County. In my ideal world, that's what I would have happen. But so far, I've only got actually, no, I wouldn't say I've only got, because to be honest, I'm very grateful for what I have already, because some people just go out there alone, and that's super honorable. And I honestly, um like I used to go out alone a little bit, but having the allies as well, like going out with Sanctifier, that was huge. That made me realize like how much less internal you can make a patrol, because when I go out on patrols, I get monologue-y. Like I start straight monologuing, and getting super in my own head. But going out with an ally is super nice. And then also I have people who I've had my friend Archer who joined me on a patrol, and he didn't have a superhero identity or anything. He just wanted to help out. And that was super duper cool. Like, and then afterwards, he was like, yeah, I'll buy supplies and I'll keep them in my car. So you can help out in these ways and get other people in the mission without getting them in the mission. Like, he's not a real life superhero, but he's still like a superhero because he's going out and he's doing the exact same stuff that I'm doing, just without the costume.
100%. How do you like balance the hero work with your secret identity?
Well, it's not super hard. I'm a college student, and right now it's the summer, so I'd only have to worry about like a job in terms of free time. Um, so to be honest, I kind of just pick a day when I'm free and I'll go out. I'll like clear out my day, I'll clear out the evening or the afternoon, and then I'll go out for about maybe 2 to 3 hours, and then I'll come back, and then that's my superhero work for the week.
It's not bad. What was the inspiration behind your suit? Like, why did you choose to have a monochromatic tan super suit, tan man?
Well, this goes into my origin story, actually.
Ooh,
I originally wanted to be a purple cat superhero, which is a huge departure from this, what I've got going on. I wanted to have a purple jumpsuit, a black cat helmet, black gloves, and a black chest plate, just like kind of what Skyline had going on. But it was really expensive, and I was like, I wouldn't be able to get this up very soon. So I'll put this on. I didn't even have a name for it. So I put it on the back burner, and I was like, okay, in the meantime, I'll make a super cheap super suit. And I was like, how am I gonna do that? And then I had this like vision of a noir detective, similar to that of The Question, where he was instead of wearing like blues or all that, he was wearing tan like Columbo, because I like Columbo. Columbo's a super cool like detective, and so I was like, okay, all tan. We've got tan pants, a tan trench coat, white shirt, brown tie, tan hat, and a tan like balaclava. And it genuinely felt like being struck by lightning. I thought the idea was genius. I thought I was super cool. I was like, wow, this
Super
is a
cool.
great idea. Um, and I thought it was really funny because tan and man rhyme. So I was like, oh, the Tan Man, that's very catchy. And so I
It
kind of
is.
just did that. Yeah, it was it was less of an inspiration and more of getting like struck by a lightning bolt, to be honest. But
That's pretty
the
cool.
question, the aesthetic of the question and Rorschach definitely helped it out because I love that like noir detective aesthetic.
Oh yeah. I used to wear a, a trench coat kind of similar to yours all the time. It's a
Yeah,
great feeling, honestly.
they're cool. They're great.
Do you have multiple
And
suits for like different purposes?
ooh, yes, I actually do. I actually do. I have a summer suit and I have a training suit. The summer suit is I take off the trench coat, I take off the dress shirt, and I take off the tie, and I put on a nice white Hawaiian shirt, and then that's kind of
Nice.
it. That's kind of just the summer fit. And then my training outfit is I remove the hat, I remove the trench coat and the dress shirt, and I put on a tan hoodie, because I have one of those. And
Cool.
it's so nice. It's so nice to be able to have the modularity with this outfit because that's all thrifted. You know, all of my suits are thrifted.
And when you're like on mission, what do you find like most common? Trash that needs to be cleaned up or like unhoused individuals requiring supplies? I know that's a bit of a departure from the suit, but I'm just
No, that's
curious.
okay. That's okay. Weirdly enough, there's not that much trash on beach for some reason. I'm kind of surprised how little trash I find. I mostly find people to help, which is nice. Super
Yeah,
nice.
that must be nice.
Um,
Is it hard getting
so
supplies?
yeah, I can get my supplies out of my car and into the hands of people who need it. Um, but it's not super common to find people in need either. That's not something that you just like run into because in my city they kind of chase out homeless people.
Oh,
So you have to like I have to like look. I have to look.
is that like the most realistic part about being a real life superhero, the downtime? Like, what's the most realistic part of being a real life superhero?
Definitely the downtime. There is a lot of walking around and looking out. There's a lot of like going up to people, asking if they need anything. Um, and a lot of the time some people will say no. Like some people just want to mind their own business, and that's fine. That's part of it. Um, Part of it is some people don't want you to do anything. Um, I think it's just a matter of like you're not gonna just run into these things. These things, especially where I'm at, where I'm in the suburbs, these things don't just happen. Especially because my city is so against having these people around. Um, that you really have to dig in your heels and make the decision to walk a long stretch of land and maybe only help out two people a day.
So I would like to thank you for taking the time to join me before we get to our final three questions. So thank you, Tan Man. Your work is very inspiring, and I appreciate that even though you're new or newer, you're very passionate about your work. I really appreciate that.
Yes,
Um,
thanks for inviting me.
of course. Do you have an origin story?
I I do actually. I haven't been very open about this.
Ooh,
Just because it's kind of like miserable. I'm kind of like a miserable guy, to be quite honest. The reason why I've been throwing myself at my work so frequently is because um Well, my fiance left me like a couple of months back, and that's been just so rough. And I struggle with bipolar disorder and like depression, um and a lot of like suicide, which I haven't really incorporated into my hero work of like reaching out for resources of suicide stuff. I've never really thought about it because resources are not something that I found super helpful, to be honest. I've never thought to like reach out to a charity organization. I've donated to the Trevor Project because they have a very clear goal, but the goal of like, oh, we're going to stop suicide for like what? How? You know, it's because it's a very, very internal struggle. I've never incorporated it into my superhero work. I've never made it a part of the superhero identity to be like, oh, we should be aware of bipolar disorder. We should be aware of suicidality and these types of things. But that's part of my personal origin story, which is why the Tan Man alter ego is so good. It keeps me off the bipolar suicide path and more on the like, I need to get my life together path. So I've been really throwing myself at real life superheroism just because, I've been sad, and I need something altruistic to do. I need to help out. I need to get out there.
100%.
And it makes me feel better.
Of course. Um, is there like anything you would want to say to someone who kind of feels powerless in the face of the world's adversities, that kind of stuff,
Honestly,
especially
it feels,
with suicide?
yeah, honestly, it feels it's so personalized. There's so many different things. Because the thing about suicide and the thing about people who feel like they're in that sort of spot, I never really understood until it happened to me when you hear something like suicide was my only option. Because once you get to that point, like people aren't going to convince you of anything because you've already thought everything out. And it's the first thing you think of. People will say, oh, it gets better. What do you think is the first thing I thought of? I know that it'll get better eventually. Help me now. So I think there's a lot of, I don't know what I would say specifically to someone who is struggling with it because having been there, I don't know how much words can help. I would just like to be there. I would like someone to know that there is help now, that there is better now. There is stuff to do. There is a way to finagle with your life because you're not bargaining to make your life better eventually. You are fighting to keep it. And I think that is something that gets kind of overlooked because there's a lot of like, oh, you have to do it for other people. Oh, you have to like, what about your friends? What about the people you leave behind? All that pain, you're just transferring it to other people. It's like a lot of the platitudes that people want to say to keep suicidal people here are like holding them hostage and making them feel more pressure to live rather than making them happy to be there. And so I think you just need to fight for your life. You need to fight for your goddamn life as hard as you can and make yourself as happy as you can and do whatever the hell you want until you get to a point where you're like stable enough to really get in there. Because I was struggling with it to the point where it was detrimental to all my personal relationships. It's very isolating. It's very damaging for a career. Like I lost everything because of my one little stint. Like I was in the hospital for it, and I genuinely lost everything. It's so isolating to be in that position. And so I think just trying to get yourself out there as much as you can is as hard as it is, as hard as it feels, that's kind of the only solution. It's not just time that helps, it's what you do with it. And I think that's probably the most important thing I could impart on someone who is struggling with suicidality.
That's very good advice. I couldn't agree more. As someone who has dealt with those kinds of issues before, I'm not going to talk about it now, but I really appreciate the sentiment there. Um, And I only have one final question, which you don't have to answer, by the way. Who is your secret identity?
Oh, who is my secret identity? That's funny. Who is this question for? Is this for you?
It's just a joke question.
My secret identity, well, I mean, to be honest, I don't really do much. This superhero thing has been taking over a little bit, just because I'm of a lack of things to do.
Hmm.
Um, so I've been really getting very superhero-y with it very frequently. So to be honest, my secret identity is starting to go on the wayside. I'm starting to become more tan man.
Wow, the real Batman treatment there.
Yeah,
That's very cool. Um, well, that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you for joining me. It was great speaking with you and hearing about your experiences and your advice to other people who want to do this stuff or people who need help with mental health. Like that's very important, especially nowadays.
of course. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Well, see you later, Tan Man.
Yep. Bye bye, Dandelion.